Hello, hi. I just filmed this whole video on my nicer camera. Turns out the memory card just pooped, so I get to film it again on my phone. So I'm sorry for the quality, or if I seem to be rushing the story now because I feel like I've already told it. Hi. This is going to be my first-ish story time video, and I'm not in my car, which is good, right? I am actually in this is my makeup room. We call it the study because all the books. But it's the only room that has like a nice big window with light. So hopefully you can see me okay and hear me okay, because I am going to tell you a story about the time I was catfished. So it feels like this day and age, everybody's been catfished, right? And I am obsessed with that show. I think I'm obsessed with it because it has happened to me. And I can so relate to it because Joel hates that show. But he's never been in that position, so I think that must be why. Okay, so here is the story. Flashback to around 2001. In 2001, I was 19 years old, and I had just started working at this company. It's actually the same company I work at now, but I started as the receptionist. And as a receptionist, my job was to sit at this front desk, answer the phone when it rang, and that's it. So, a lot of my day was boring, and I didn't have much to do. So someone had recommended that I start a live journal, because live journal was, blogging before blogging was blogging, and blogging was vlogging before vlogging was vlogging. So that's what I did. So I started live journal, and then all my friends had live journal, and it was a great community, and I loved posting every day. So I would post, angsty poetry because I was 19 years old, and stories of online dating and all the other stuff I was doing at the time. And it was great. It was a great way to keep up with my friends who were all off at college at that time. So, I met this girl named Melody. And now Melody is her real name. I'm obviously not going to give you her last name, but I know her full real name and address and all that stuff. But I feel like we've all grown up, so I don't really feel like I need to go after her for anything. So I met this girl, Melody, and we hit it off right away. She's from Ohio. She's a beautiful, beautiful girl. It's like a little bit chubby. I mean, a little bit. I only mention her weight because it was kind of something that we, bonded over a little bit. And if you've ever watched Catfish, you also know that it's kind of a common theme. Girls who are really overweight, really insecure, will post, other people's pictures as their own because they want to get that, positive feedback from people that they feel like they're not getting. Again, that has nothing to do with my situation. I just thought that's why I'm mentioning her weight, because I think that sort of caused us to become quick friends. So, we had a lot in common, and I really liked her, and she seemed to really like me. We would chat on LiveJournal every day. We would chat on Yahoo Messenger every night. We would talk on the phone. And so, over this friendship, I started to become friends with her friends as well. Her best friend Angie, her friend Tim, and Tim's twin brother Ryan, as well as like you know, 5 or 6 other people that knew her, supposedly, knew her in real life, people from her work, people from her hometown. It all was very legit. So therefore she also got to know, you know, my friends, my best friend Adam, and a bunch of other friends that I had on LiveJournal. So after a few months, you know, we all felt very close and that we should meet. So Adam and I, my best friend Adam and I decided that we would drive over to Ohio to meet her and Tim and all of her friends. Now, during this time, Tim and I had sort of started a little relationship. The thing that's weird with that is that a lot of this relationship happened via Melody. So, you know, she introduced us. Now, I followed his LiveJournal, so he would post and I would comment and we would chat on Yahoo Messenger, he and I, not, you know, like a group chat, but we never spoke on the phone. And Melody would say that Tim is very shy, and she would send me pictures of him, and he was, you know, like, gorgeous. They definitely looked like real pictures of a real person, but he didn't look like someone who would be excessively shy or nervous about anything. He looked like a football player with blonde hair and blue eyes, and he was great. He sent me Valentine's Day gifts, and you know, we would chat all the time. Sorry, I'm distracted. There's a hummingbird flying outside my window. So yeah. So not only that, but Tim's twin brother Ryan, who just happens to be gay and in a rock band, you know, because he's perfect. And so he supposedly becomes interested in my best friend Adam. Okay, so now we've got like 2 couples coupling off in this perfect fashion, with Melody just kind of facilitating all of it. And things were really good. You know, we couldn't all wait to meet each other. So Adam and I picked our dates to go drive out to Ohio to meet her, meet them, meet the whole family. And that was all good. Now, a month before we were supposed to leave, Melody called me and said, you know, we're still on, you should still come, but I'm getting antsy to just hit the road, so I'm going to drive up and meet you in Massachusetts just for the weekend. So, okay, cool. So I was still living with my parents at the time. So I talked to them and they said, totally fine, she can come, she can stay with us. No problem. So she came and she arrived and she was everything that we thought she was. You know, it was her in all the pictures. She was just as welcoming and sweet and warm. My parents liked her. My brother liked her. Adam and I liked her. We went bowling. We had dinner. It was cool. She stayed, you know, on my pull-out couch for 1 night, 2 nights. I don't remember. It was just a weekend. And then she went home. And that was that. And then, you know, a few weeks later, Adam and I drove out there to hang out with her. So we did, you know, we were young and broke, so we had no money, but we drove my little Volkswagen about 14 hours straight to Ohio, and we met her at her house. We met her mom and her stepdad. We went to a tanning salon, which was supposedly owned by her sister, and her sister, I guess, somebody hooked me up with a free tan, right? So it was as soon as we got there, We hadn't even eaten yet. We just went right to this tanning salon to meet her sister. And I don't even remember meeting her sister, honestly. I'm sure I did, but I remember meeting other people that worked at the tanning salon. They took me right in, and Melody told them, you know, you give her a free tan, you know, just to relax after this long trip. And I kept telling her, this mini story is totally irrelevant, by the way. I just have to tell it because I told her, you know, I am super pale, I burn super quickly, and I've never been tanning before. And so she said, no problem, I'll tell them exactly what to give you. So she put me in this like super high machine for 7 minutes, and I came out so burnt. So we just get there, just arrived, and to relax, I get lobster burnt, and it was so uncomfortable for the rest of the trip. But I feel like after the fact, I felt like this was some kind of malicious attack, right? To like burn me to a crisp as soon as I got there. But at the time, I figured it was just, you know, it's just a mistake. It's no big deal. So our plan was to, after meeting her family, we were going to drive over to this like local park or something. I don't remember if her family owned the land. I'm not sure. But we were just going to camp. So we were going to take her tent. 3 of us were going to camp on this land for the weekend. Just so we wouldn't be, you know, a burden to her family. So we get to this land and we drive out. We get the car stuck in the mud. We have to push the car out of the mud. It's this whole ordeal. We set up the tent. The 3 of us get in the tent and we look down and we're covered in ticks. Again, this story also not relevant to the catfish story in general, but I feel like I gotta give the whole thing because it was a whole ordeal. So we're covered in ticks. Covered. I mean, you could see them like jumping onto us. So we screaming and we run out and we said, okay, this is it. Now we're broke, so we can't go stay in a hotel. So we have to stay in there, in her family's house. And they were very generous and they let us stay, you know, on the floor and just had a little sleepover. So the plan was, you know, we have dinner, we stay over. The next day, we were going to meet everybody. We were going to meet Tim and his brother, and it was going to be this beautiful romantic, you know, meeting. We were going to meet her best friend Angie. We were going to maybe meet these people that she works with, these people that I've been talking to online, you know, all this time. So the next day comes and I'm, you know, nervous and excited to meet Tim. You know, I had gotten my hair done. I had acrylic nails on because, you know, I thought that was really, really cool. And so step 1, we drive to his apartment and we park and she calls him on the phone and he doesn't answer. Now, she didn't go up to the door or anything like that. She just said, oh, I guess he's not home. He didn't answer his phone. Let's leave and, you know, we'll come back later. I bet he's just nervous. He's so nervous to meet you. Okay. So this happened with every person we were supposed to meet multiple times, where at the end of the weekend, we hadn't met anyone other than Melody and her parents. So after all this hype, no Tim, no Ryan, no Angie, nobody. It was really disheartening, even though, you know, we were having a good time with her. But it was just the 3 of us. And so, you know, the weekend was over. We drove back home. We had fun, but we were really disappointed. And, I'm getting messages then from Tim saying like, oh, I'm so sorry I didn't meet you. I got so shy and so nervous. I couldn't do it. What if I fell in love with you and you live so far away? Oh, all these romantic things. Okay. So now we get back and things are fine. They're kind of back to normal. Although I'm a little bit weary. And Melody had then been going through all of this drama on LiveJournal and online and on the phone, where she's confiding in me all of this drama. And the drama was that this guy she had been talking to, his name was Dominic, I think, this like hot Italian guy. He was real. He accused Melody of pretending to be this woman that he was falling in love with. Okay, so basically this guy Dominic, who seemed to be a real person, was accusing Melody of being a catfish. And very similar things had happened. She actually went out to meet him. I don't remember where he lived, but far, California or Florida or something. She went out and met him, and they hung out, and they talked about this girl that he was falling in love with online. And he had reason to believe now that she didn't exist and that she was Melody this whole time. Now, I, super naive, and I thought, I was really close friends with Melody, so I totally took her side. I believed her that this other girl was real and she was the shady one. And, and this Dominic guy was texting me and saying, watch out for this girl. You don't really know who she's pretending to be. But again, I didn't really buy it. Like, nothing really clicked, even though I had all of these kind of signs along the way with Tim and with all these other people. Okay, so that had happened and that kind of died down. And then after a while, another, month or two, and Melody and I were still friends and we were still chatting on LiveJournal, but not as much, not on the phone. That happens with all friendships though. So it wasn't like a falling out or anything. We just kind of slowly didn't talk that much. And at this point, I got a message from her best friend, Angie. And Angie told me that Melody, basically she said, she tried to warn me. She said, I'm very close with Melody. I love her. She's my best friend, but I don't like what she's doing to you. And then she proceeded to say that Melody didn't really like me. She thought I was pretty annoying. I can't blame her there. But she really liked Adam, and she wanted to stay friends with me so that she could be close to Adam. And again, that's that alone, I was like, fine, whatever. People do get annoyed by other people, and fine. But then she told me everything else. That Tim was not a real person. Ryan was not a real person. Some of these other people were not real people. All the time that I was talking to Tim, I was talking to Melody. And that really hurt me because I was young and very insecure about my weight and my looks, and I was single, and so I really felt comfortable with this guy I thought I was talking to, and it wasn't a guy at all. It wasn't a different person. It was her the whole time. And so you get that kind of movie montage, like realization all at once, like all these things along the way. Like she crazy. The things she has said and has done, and she's crazy. You know, she came to my house and she stayed in my house with my family, and she's crazy. So that really hurt. But at the time, I didn't know what to believe either. It's not that I didn't believe her, because as soon as she told me that, it all made sense. But then I thought, I don't even know if this Angie person is real. Maybe she's Melody as well, coming to tell me, like, this is her out, you know. She's trying to tell me that she doesn't want to be friends with me anymore, and that it was all fake. And I still don't know. I still don't know. So when Angie told me this, I tried to play it as cool as possible. Like, that I did not care. I was just like, okay, like, she's crazy, but fine, whatever. Like, I'm over it. And because I didn't want, if she really was Melody the whole time, I didn't want to give her the satisfaction of knowing that it really upset me. But yeah, it really did. It did. And it's funny because at this time, 2001, you know, I grew up, you know, we got like a BBS. I'll explain that in a further video if people don't know what that is. But we had a BBS back in the day, and basically you got to talk to people that were local, and it was totally acceptable and seemingly safe to meet people over this platform. They were local people, they were kids my age, and I would meet them on this BBS, and then I would meet them at the mall, and it was fine, and everybody was always who they said they were. And it's funny to me that that I never catfished anybody. I know that's weird to say, but at the time, you know, again, like I said, I was overweight. I didn't like the way I looked. I never really had like a long-term relationship, and so I was always looking for that validation. And how easy it would have been to just take someone else's picture. I could have taken my sister. She's gorgeous. I could have taken her picture and pretended to be her, and I never did that. And so I feel like it's not enough excuse to just say, you know, I felt like I needed that attention. Because I felt like I needed that attention, and I still never did that to anyone. So anyway, that was a weird little tangent. But ultimately, what I found out was that a lot of what Melody told me about herself was not true. She actually had a child at the time. She had like a 2-year-old son that she had told me was like her ex-boyfriend's son, like not related to her at all. Not the case. Who lies about their own child? Like, who had the kid for the whole weekend we were there, or the whole weekend that she was here? I mean, she had this whole other life, like her real life, that she didn't share with us. And how much effort could it have taken to pretend to be all of these different people? I mean, talk about a hobby, right? She talked to me as at least 2 different people. She talked to Adam as at least 2 different people. Different people. I mean, whoa. That is like, that's really sunny, huh? There we go. It's crazy. And I know that the stories now on the Catfish show, which I love so much, are way crazier than mine. but I can relate to them so well because it's amazing how you can fall in love with people without meeting them, without even knowing if they are real. I mean, that's crazy. It's crazy. So there's all kinds of little tidbits in this story because it really did span over a whole year that I'm sure I forgot that make her even crazier. Yes, I do look her up sometimes. I try to look her up on Facebook or on Instagram, but she's private on everything. I have to imagine that between, you know, Adam and myself, Dominic and this other girl, I guess, who was a real person, how many other people had she done this to? You know, to keep them all straight. And people don't forget stuff like that. People don't forget when they've been manipulated or deceived, especially at a young age when I was still a teenager. Like, it stays with you. And I can't say I regret it, like any of it, because it certainly taught me a lesson. I am a pretty naive person, and I like it that way. You know, I prefer to think the best of people until they prove me wrong. But she did show me that there is an extent to that naive part where, you know, you do have to stop and think there are crazy people in this world, and maybe I shouldn't wait for them to do something harmful to me before I reconsider that maybe it's not legit. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this 30-minute story time about being catfished. I guess, you know, I learned from it. I highly doubt that she learned from it. I do know that she has even more kids now, and she's married. She may have been married before. I don't really know. And I hope that she's finally happy with who she is and doesn't need to pretend to be anyone else. Because we all grow up, and hopefully we all learn that lesson. And I hope that she learned hers, because she hurt a lot of people, and I was one of them. So, alright, that's my story. I hope you made it through the whole thing, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.